Salut, bonjour, and welcome to Francofille, a creative podcast. My name is Devin, and this is where I document my knitting and other fiber-related crafting. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry at @BDevin. You can find my patterns on Ravelry if you search Francofille, same title as the podcast. And you can find my yarn and patterns on Etsy if you search Francofille as the store name. So all that information there for you if you want to find me. So it's been a while since my last episode. Again, continuing with the theme of the summer. Meant to record while I was in Colorado, but obviously that did not seem to happen. Mostly because the lighting wasn't good. I tried recording one afternoon, and even with all the lights in the condo on, just given the nature of recording on an iPhone, it just wasn't enough, and it just didn't look very good. Not only that, but the handful of times there was really good, like bright sunny weather, Mom and I were outside doing stuff to take advantage of it. So yeah, I'll do a little bit of a recap of the trip itself at the end of the episode after the shop update. But yeah, I've got so much to talk about. I've got, almost 3 weeks worth of stuff to talk about, and I've been really busy with my knitting and dyeing and things like that in the last 3 weeks. So I'm actually gonna break up a lot of the content that I've got right now into 2 episodes. So I'll do one this week, and then I'll save a bunch of stuff for next week's episode. I'm working on a couple designs and new colorways and things like that for the store, and I think I'm just gonna hold off and talk about that stuff next episode, because between the prizes for the Summer of Sock Yarn Knit Along, my recent acquisitions from the trip, and then just kind of other stuff that's come in, and then yeah, just kind of other like finished objects and projects you guys have already seen. I feel like there's plenty really to talk about. But yeah, so I'm gonna start with the prizes for the knit along. So if you participated in the knit along, definitely pay attention. I've got, 5 different prizes to give away. 3 from the finished objects thread, 3 from the chatter thread. Sorry, I'm sure you saw Ezra wandering around. He's coming and sitting next to me. He wants attention, so if my arm seems to be strangely moving or anything like that, I'm just trying to pet the puppy man. But yeah, so plenty of prizes to give away there. If that's not of interest to you, if you didn't participate in the knit along and you're not really into seeing, the prizes and things like that, totally legit. I'll put down in the down bar or whatever, the timestamp for when I start actual knitting content, or when that finishes. Similarly with the blather and shop update stuff at the very end of the episode. If that's not of interest to you, I'll announce when that's starting, and you can just tune out then. Totally legit. But yeah, so with all that being said, let's dive straight into the prizes. All right, prizes. I'm gonna start with, first of all, I am blown away by the number of posts that there were in both the finished object and the chatter thread. Thank you guys so much for participating. I know it looks like I didn't really do much in there because I stayed out of actually commenting and things like that, just to make drawing prizes and things like that easier. Last time, I think I drew for the previous knit along, I think I drew myself first for every single prize and had to keep redrawing to not get myself. So that was why I kind of stayed quiet, but I read every comment, saw every picture, and you guys knit some amazing stuff this summer. So you guys should all be very proud of yourselves. Sorry. Need a little Diet Coke this afternoon. Need a little caffeine. But yeah, so if you guys need any inspiration for what to do with a pile of sock yarn, definitely go check out both the Finished Object and Chatter Threads. There's some amazing projects. It's super inspiring. So yeah, so thank you guys so much for remembering to like post and all that kind of stuff. Thank you. So yeah, so prizes, that's what's really of interest here, right? I've got 5 different prizes, originally 4, but I added one more in because I was just not impressed with everybody. But yeah, so I'm gonna start with the prizes for the Chatter Thread. So first for the Chatter Thread, we have this fantastic project bag, which was donated by a viewer to the podcast. Thank you, Autumn. Really, really nice, really fun, bright Dr. Seuss project bag. It's a really good size. Like you could seriously get like a really good size project in here. You can definitely fit 3 skeins of yarn at least in here, plus your whip. If you've got like a multicolored shawl or something like that, you could get all of that plus the pattern in here. Like it's a great project bag, great size. You know, it's nice and squishy. It's got the quilting sort of interfacing in there, so it's really sturdy and really soft. Great handle pull and all that kind of good stuff. So enough about the bag. This is going to, let's see here, this was post number 93, which was, who is Sarah RN14. I'm gonna, oh, I should also say, I'll do it at the end. Get, like rules for contacting me and things like that. So yes, so Sarah RN14, contact me and I will get this bag shipped out to you. The other prize for the Chatter Thread, this is one where, again, there were 117 posts, so was that not including my first post? There were 116 posts from you guys in the Chatter Thread. And that just kind of blew me away, so I decided to add in a second prize for it. And I'm gonna do one of my mini skein packs. All right, and get all of the early fall colorways. I'll show you the back. Try and get the glint off of it. We've got Fond d'août, right, end of August, Randonnée, hike, Vendange, which is Grape Harvest, Chateau Neuf, and L'été Indien, so Indian summer. Okay. Each mini skein is 20 grams, about 92 yards, and they're a superwash nylon combo, right, blend. So yeah, so that is going to post number 10, who is BB Knitter. So yeah, sorry, notifications on my phone, super distracting. So yeah, go ahead and contact me either through Instagram or Ravelry and like send me a PM and I will get these sent out to you. As for the Finished Object Thread winners, I got 3 more awesome prizes for you guys. So I'm like leaning closer to the camera to actually grab the prizes. The first one was this fantastic, another mini skein set. This one is from Yarn Company. And I believe I went over these probably a good month or 2 ago when they arrived. There are 8 mini skeins in here. Let's see. They're all absolutely gorgeous. I'm gonna sneak this open real quick just to give you guys a little bit more detail about weights and things like that. This is another generous donation. I'm so incredibly grateful. Donated by Yarn Company, and who is another Midwestern indie dyer, so gotta love that. Let's see here, we are looking at 20 gram minis as well, so just like my set. This is 100% superwash merino. Dog, go away. 187 yards apiece. Right, and these are, they're tonal and speckle, and they are amazingly gorgeous. So, who is getting this fantastic prize? This is going to number 118, who is KAL Knit Pearl. Okay, so congratulations. Really sweet. There's a little card in here for you, and everything says winner on it. But yes, so thank you for the donation, and thank you, KAL Knit Pearl, for posting. Let's see here, prize number 2 for the finished objects thread is this gorgeous hand-dyed project bags by Annie of Hand Knit, HKNT. You can find her stuff all on Etsy as well. She also included this adorable little package, here we go, of stitch markers and progress keeper. All these adorable little skulls. Really cute. I have a set of these as well. They're fantastic. They seriously, they're so much fun to come across as you're knitting, and they hold up really well. I've made stitch markers for myself in the past that have ended up falling apart. These are not like that. They haven't snagged on anything for me. They aren't falling apart. They're excellent. And he does good work. So this is going to, let's see here, post number 128, who is, let's see, can I read my own handwriting? Ah, okay, it's A. Hinkle. I think it's A. Hinkle. I'll write it down here too. But yes, post number 128. All these numbers were, I drew using random.org, if anyone was curious. Again, really good size project bag. Another good size bag that you could use for like a large shawl project or something like that. Like it's that kind of size. And just gorgeous. I'm just kind of in awe with the way that she dyed this fabric. So thank you, Annie, for the donation, and thank you, A. Hinkle, for posting. The last prize is from, let's see here, it was donated from Left Hand Lass, and this is just an absolutely gorgeous skein of yarn, fingering weight yarn. You can see it's got gold stellina in there, nice and sparkly. The colorway here is Byzantine, and the base is her Riches base. I'm in awe of this. It's so pretty. I mean, honestly. But yeah, info here, 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, and 5% gold stellina. 435 yards for 100 grams. So just a really nice fingering weight. And I love the gold stellina in this. So pretty. And this is going to post number 4. Right, nice and early on there. Post number 4, who is Glass Beetle. All right, so that is all the prizes, all the winners. Let's see here. Today is what, September 12th? So if you guys can contact me within the next 4 weeks, that'd be great. I'll get your get these prizes out to you guys as quickly as I can right after you guys contact me. Other than that, if I don't hear from you after 4 weeks, I'm gonna go ahead and redraw. That just seems the fairest thing to do. Do you know what I mean? That way, yeah, everybody who has participated and watches the show and all that, has a chance to win. So, all right, moving right along. I've got 2 finished objects to show you guys. Trying to think if both were finished while I was in Colorado or just the one. I know one was finished while I was in Colorado, the other was started while I was in Colorado, so vacation knitting for the one. Yes. And then I've got that, and then one other project that I'm going to show you guys. Everything else I'm going to hold off for next week because it's either a new colorway or a design that I want to talk about next week. So I'm going to start with the first of the 2 finished objects. Both finished objects are pairs of socks. The first one here is my sock blank socks, right? This is a sock blank that I dyed up myself just to kind of practice and get used to like painting a sock blank rather than immersion dyeing it like I do my yarn. So I kind of had to add xanthan, or was it xanthan gum or gargum? I had to add something to the dye to thicken it up so I could actually paint with it, otherwise it was too runny. But anyway, while the sock blank itself looked a little bit like a kindergartner painted it, I actually really love how these socks turned out. It's actually the first time I've knit socks using Stellina yarn, and I actually really like it. It does add just a nice little bit of sparkle, which is not showing up fantastically well on the camera. I'm doing my best to like try and catch the light or something like that. But in person it actually shows up really well. They're actually super sparkly and I kind of love it. But yeah, just kind of really enjoyed the way that it knit up. Love the swirls of color. Let's see here, if you can see in there, there's also a knit purl sort of motif that spirals along. Fish lips kiss heel, 64 stitches, standard toe, nothing crazy about these socks, but super comfy. Really love how they knit up, and really makes me want to dye up, get my hand on some more sock blanks and dye some more up. So we'll see. The other finished object that I've got here, actually, squeaky stool. So I'm grabbing the project bag so I can actually show you like the ball bands and things like that. I knit up these fantastic socks. I'm in love with these socks. I cast them on while I was on vacation just because I knew I needed something simple to knit on while in the car with mom, or honestly while we went hiking. This project was living in my drawstring Socksetera project bag, so I would seriously just, you know, loop the bag on one wrist and just knit while we were walking and hiking and stuff like that, because I'm obsessed and a crazy person, apparently. But totally simple sock, nothing remotely fancy about the knitting itself. Really the only thing was the yarn, right, which is so much fun. 64 stitches, 2x2 ribbing. I'm gonna say probably about 20 rows, either 15 or 20 rows. That's kind of what I've switched to as my go-to now. A much longer ankle or leg on the sock than I usually do, but I just was too in love with the way the yarn was knitting up to actually stop. Fish lips kiss heel, and here the little contrast is leftover yarn that I dyed up a while ago, back in probably about April. But yeah, so I still have a good chunk of this left. I decided to just do the heels and not the toes and the cuff too. Honestly, because I just was enjoying the way the main yarn was knitting up. Speaking of which, I should probably tell you what it is. Just from sight, you may be able to tell if you pay attention to sock yarn, things like that, but this is by Regia. It is one of their Arne and Carlos colorways. This is one of the older ones. It is, oh, it's not on the band, but I remember I looked it up. It is, I want to say it's Moon Night? Yes, I was right. It is Moon Night. Sorry, I was looking on my Ravelry project bag, or project page to figure it out. Yep, so it is Moon Night, and it is one of the Arne and Carlos colorways. I desperately need to get my hands on more of this stuff. It is amazing. 100% hooked. It was so addicting to knit up and to figure out kind of the color repeats. Because right, this and that, those are the same. This is the same as up there and down at the toe. So just kind of seeing how it all knits up. The other sock, they're almost identical, but they're off by just like 2 or 3 rows. And honestly, I'm not that particular. It doesn't bother me. It's probably the closest to a matching pair of socks that wasn't tonal or something like that I think I've ever knit. So that's kind of exciting, or at least knit for myself. But yeah, so another finished pair. Ends woven in and everything. I'm kind of proud of myself for that. But yeah, so that is all of my finished objects. Lots of sock knitting. I'm actually knitting on 2 more pairs of socks right now and debating casting on a third. Yeah, I pulled together all of my whips today while I was trying to prepare for this, for recording today, and I think I've got at least 5 whips right now. It seemed like more. I must be forgetting about something because I swear I had more whips than that. No, I've got like at least 8. Too many whips. And I should not cast on another pair of socks, but I kind of really want to. More on that next week. That's a next week problem. I'm gonna ignore it for now. But anyway, the other whip that I want to talk about this week is my portage cardigan, which got a lot of love while I was in Colorado, both for me and Mom's dog, apparently. As I don't know if you can tell, but it is covered in white dog hair. Mom has a white German Shepherd that sheds like crazy. But it's okay. It's okay. We love the dog, so we don't mind. Like little bits of yarn all over it. But yeah, so that progress keeper is where I left off last episode. All right, so you can see I've put in a good chunk of work since the last episode. I'm still working my way down the back. But I've divided for the sleeves. There's now this nice little braid happening underneath the arm. And yeah, just kind of keeping going. What else? I'm almost done with the body shaping and things like that. But I am so excited to have this done, and yet I've kind of hit a little bit of a slump with it. Mostly because I've been working on socks. They're just such quick, satisfying, like immediate gratification kind of projects, and this, while fun, I really want the finished object. Not immediate gratification by any sense. Trying to think what else I want to say about it. This textured back is just gorgeous. Really love it. You can see where I made a mistake for a little bit back there. See, Becky, I told you I did make a mistake there. All right, can you guys see it? I definitely can. It's like all I can see at the moment. It's just right there. But anyway, I think once it's all done, that won't pop out quite so much. But anyway, details about this. Like I said, it is the portage. Well, I hope that's right. If it's not right, there'll be a little message here. Portage cardigan. I'm knitting it out of some deep stash of mine. It is Sestari yarn. Is there... they honestly don't even carry this yarn anymore. Like, that is how old this yarn is. But it is a DK weight, and the color is bark. But yeah, it's just really nice and really sheepy. There is so much lanolin left in here, and like vegetation and things like that. And I don't know, it's a really nice change of pace. I feel like I knit with so much superwash yarn. You know, yarn that's been really, really processed, and doesn't necessarily have any lanolin left in it. Definitely nothing with any vegetation or anything, unless I've dropped my project in the grass. That actually did happen recently. But you know, it's just a different sort of knitting experience, and I really enjoy it. There's something really, I don't know, I mean, authentic is kind of the wrong word for it, but it's that kind of, it's satisfying in a different way. Than kind of everything else that I'm knitting on. So I'm almost done with my second skein. I'm gonna have to jump into a third one soon. I think I've budgeted 8 skeins for this sweater, and they are 100-gram skeins, 4-ounce skeins, right? Part of why I don't knit a lot of sweaters, right? I'm not a tiny human being. I'm a short person, but there's a lot of me to love. Let's put it that way. This is, I want to say, size 50 bust, which is oversized for me. That gives me a lot of positive ease. But it's a big sturdy cardigan, right? And I'm planning on having it to wear over, you know, flannel shirts and things like that. So I want it to have plenty of room. Right, so yeah, luckily I've got, I think, 9 or 10 skeins in my stash. So hopefully, you know, I'm knocking on some wood here, I'll have plenty of yarn to get it done. But yeah, that's why I don't tend to knit too many sweaters for myself. It just takes a lot of yarn and a lot of time, and it's a big investment, both obviously financially and time-wise, right? But this is a cool sweater. I think I'm gonna be really, really happy with it once it's done. So the back and forth. So yeah, so I've knit a lot of socks and I've knit a lot on a sweater, kind of like two ends of the spectrum. I've also knit a fair deal of lace, but again, next week for all that kind of stuff. Kind of been hitting all of my favorite my favorites recently. It's been fun, just bouncing from project to project. All right, before, I think I'll do a little bit of blather first and then move into the shop update, partly because the blather involves some stash enhancements and some recent acquisitions. I'm gonna start with, some of them are going to, I'm trying to think, like there's been a fair deal recently. I think some of it is going to be saved for next week because it involves a new design. I'm gonna leave it for next week. Yeah, I'll just talk about the Colorado stuff today. So yeah, so I got to Colorado and Mom picked me up from the airport. We went directly to Boulder, which is not where she lives when she's out there. But I'd never been to Boulder before. I'd heard great things, so we decided to go. Had lunch and all that. It was great. And then as we're driving, we're heading back towards Keystone, which is where she lives. Mom was just like, hey, why don't we stop by a yarn store? And my mother, the non-knitter, like, yes, please, thank you. 100%, I'm on board for that. Absolutely. So I quickly Google, you know, yarn store Boulder. We picked one that was on the way back for us to swing by. So I'm like leaning over so I can actually, oh, where did it go? Oh, it's already down there. Yeah, so we pull up and we stopped by, what was it, Gypsy Wools in Boulder. Super, super, super cute store. Really adorable. Just the nicest people. And discovered that during the week that I was in Colorado, it happened to also be in the middle of a yarn crawl through like Boulder, Denver, and a couple other, I think Colorado Springs and a couple other towns along the Front Range, right, or along the eastern edge of the Rockies. So I got super excited about that, obviously. Mom less so. Mom was a little less enthusiastic about that fact. Mostly because, again, Mom's a non-knitter and she was, expecting to hit up maybe 1 or 2 stores. Did not want to hit up all 12 or whatever it was that were participating in the yarn crawl. Totally fine. But yeah, while we were at Gypsy Wools, Mom put in a request for a pair of fingerless mitts for herself and a pair for her best friend. Just kind of as like a little thank you for being nice to my mom kind of thing. Thank you for being a good friend. So I told Mom I kind of gave her some parameters for the yarn that she would need to pick out. Just kind of put her in front of a section of wool. Just told her to pick out ones that looked pretty. And yeah, she picked out, again, unfortunately it's been a little bit covered in dog hair. She picked out these 2 former skeins of yarn. Did not have a Swift and ball winder with me, so I just kind of balled them up myself. Let's see here. Again, unfortunately I managed to lose the ball band for one of them. Let's see here. So I'll start with this one. This is Manos del Uruguay. And I'm gonna get this wrong. Fundo del Mar? I think it's bottom of the sea colorway. I want to say this is Allegria, I believe is the base. It's just a fingering weight. You can see lots of blues and greens. All right, this one was for Mom's pair of mitts. And then this one, oh man, I was really hoping that I'd been good and put in my yarn information before I lost the ball band, but I didn't. Apparently this is just mystery yarn at this point. It is a really pretty fingering weight tweed. I know the color name was clematis, right? Like those flowering vines. Oh, what are you though? Oh, guys, I'm the worst. But anyway, these got turned into a pair of monkey fingerless mitts for my mom's friend Gloria. And unfortunately, given away before I could even take pictures, so who knows. But yeah, they only took 30 grams of yarn, so I still have 70 grams here. I've got most of the skein. I may make a pair of socks or something like that out of this. And then for Mom, I made a pair of carbon fingerless mitts that got finished. I'm just going to show you guys real quick one of the pictures from Instagram. There we go, of what it looked like. Here we go. Really, really cool pattern. A free pattern on Ravelry, and I finished them in the car on the way to the airport at the end of my trip. I knit them up in like a day and a half. Both pairs knit up super, super, super quickly, which was really nice. They needed to kind of be quick like that. And yeah, I mean, my mom and Gloria are both sort of super knit-worthy. Really, really nice. They really appreciate handmade gifts and things like that, especially like hand knit gifts. I've talked about Mom and her love of fingerless mitts, but I got out there and she had just a stack, just a pile of fingerless mitts that I'd made for her going back years. I thought she was kidding when she said that she like was obsessed about keeping track of all of them. I don't know why, but no, seriously, just a pile of them sitting in her dining room. Just kind of on her way out during the day, she can just grab a pair and go. So yeah, so really, really fun to be able to knit those up for Mom and Gloria. Don't usually do non-selfish knitting, but in that case, it was totally worth it. And especially if, what was the other thing? Mom bought the yarn, so I can't turn that down, right? So Again, I've got probably 60 grams left of this one too, so probably gonna be another pair of socks. Or maybe I'll make some for myself. I don't tend to wear a ton of fingerless mitts, but maybe. I really enjoyed the carbon fingerless mitts pattern. Really highly recommend it. Really fun slip stitch pattern that, I don't know, I may make myself a pair of carbon socks maybe, or something like that. Take a nod from the pattern and just kind of throw together some socks with it instead. Because I'm gonna get a lot more wear out of socks than I am fingerless mitts, but we'll see. Plenty more to come out of these two balls. Let's see, what else? Oh, while we were at Gypsy Wold, I also picked up a braid of, let's see here, BFL, right? 4 ounces. And it's just really nice, natural, undyed BFL. So just, there was so much really gorgeous fiber in that store. And Mom did not understand why I picked an undyed braid, because mom loves bright colors. She and I have a very complementary, let's say, in a color sort of perspective, very opposite color sense or color preferences. Whereas to me, this just made my heart sing. Mom was a little disappointed I'd gone for something boring, but it's so soft. It is so incredibly soft, and just so pretty. Yes, more fiber to add to my fiber stash. I still haven't broken up my wheel since we moved in. I gotta do that. Maybe I'll do that this week. It's finally cooling off a little bit, so maybe I'll take puppy friend outside and spin on the deck while he runs around like a madman. We'll see. But with fiber like this, this is excellent motivation to break the wheel back out. Yeah, so what else? We ended up stopping at a couple other stores in Denver, but I only actually made one more purchase, really. We stopped by Fancy Tiger Crafts, because after seeing it on Nicole of Q Loco's podcast, right? She's talked about it a couple times, and I think she had a sort of mini episode where she actually took a field trip there, if I'm recalling correctly, or it could have been at the end of an episode. But anyway, I knew next time I was in Colorado I had to go, so we stopped there, and it really is just the coolest store. Right, plenty of yarn, but also like fabric and things like that. So knitting and sewing. I'm sure there's other crafts. I didn't get to go too far in. I was mostly distracted by the yarn. But yeah, and I bought a fair deal of Madeline Tosh. I got 2 skeins of whiskers. All of these are Tosh Merino Light. Look at all that goodness. So good. So whiskers, and so I already had a skein of it in my stash. So I got 2 more. And then 2 skeins of Modern Fair Isle. Right, as you can see, kind of has these really beautiful pops of orange and gray. And so I'm gonna put these all together, and once I clear off some needles, so probably come January, I'm thinking I'm gonna knit these together into a breathing space sweater, which is a pattern by Vera Valimaki. And I feel like a lot of people have knitted up recently. I've been seeing it a lot on Instagram. I know Shannon of Socksetra just finished one, and it was gorgeous. I think she finished hers like a day or 2 before I stopped by the yarn store in Denver, and a couple days before I picked up this batch of yarn, because I saw hers and I was just like, that's it. That's what I need to knit. I need that sweater. It is amazing. So yeah. It's a really cool pattern. Of course, I mean, Vera Valimaki does really interesting stuff. She plays a lot with lines and things like that. So these will all be striped together, and I think they're gonna look really interesting, really good together. Of course, my lighting right now is just blowing it all out, so you can't really see what it'll look like, but I have faith that these will go together well. So yeah, so that was all of my yarn acquisitions from vacation, right? Which honestly is plenty. I ended up having to ship them back home. Yeah, because there just wasn't room in my carry-ons for it. So luckily I am very comfortable and very familiar with shipping and things like that after a couple months selling on Etsy. So that was convenient. But yeah, so lots of knitting happened. I apologize for all of the vacation knitting pictures I posted on Instagram if you follow me there. But it was just so pretty. And I knit obsessively. It was so nice. I think the weather was in like the 50s and 60s almost the entire time I was there. So it was perfect knitting weather. You know, and it was a little overcast and rainy for the majority of the time I was there. So didn't get to get out and do as much hiking and all that kind of stuff as I would have liked, but I mean, we could have in the rain anyway, but I'm a delicate flower, and if I don't have to hike in the rain or go out in the rain, I won't. So I spent a good deal of time sitting in front of the fireplace and knitting, because that's kind of perfect, right? I'm super excited to get to do that this winter. You know, christen this bad boy. But yeah, so that was the trip. Yeah. So I think that'll do it in terms of knitting content and stash acquisitions and all that kind of good stuff for this week. I'll save everything else for next week. And yeah, I'm gonna dive into shop update now. So if that's not of interest to you, totally fine, and I will see you again next week. Otherwise, thanks for sticking around, and yeah, let's chat a little bit about what I've been dyeing. All right, so what I've been dyeing. Kind of in a transition point right now between kind of what's just kind of left over in my stock and kind of making room for another new set of colorways. So I'm gonna keep dyeing up my early fall colorways for another couple weeks. So all of those will be in the shop update. I've also got one last mini skein set that will be in this week's shop update, which has all 5 of the, well, really the 4 new early fall colorways plus Chateau Neuf. Right, I'm gonna actually open up this one real quick to show you guys again what all of the colors look like. Just kind of see what's on the back of the card here. Each mini skein is 20 grams, about 92 yards, if my math is correct. Could be plus or minus, just given the nature of winding minis. And they're all on my chaussette base, which is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. And so, let's see here. I've got Vendange, which, here we go, is there. Great, Grape Harvest. Nice fun speckled colorway. So it's got solid sections, right? I can show you on a bigger skein of this one too. Right, you've got sections where the purple is more solid or kind of tonally, and then sections where it's really just heavily speckled with orange and green. So this one is a really cool. I've got Fondue or End of August, which again is another highly speckled colorway. We've got kind of a goldenrod sort of base that's got speckles of greens and purples and blues, a little bit of red mixed in there too. So it's just kind of a fun, kind of harvesty sort of colorway. Almost reminds me of like multicolored feed corn or something like that. I live in Indiana. Right? But again, really pretty. Love this one. Then the other ones are all variegated, not speckly. We've got L'été Indien, or Indian Summer, which this is a really fun one to dye up. I love this one, but every time I dye it up, it's slightly different. Sometimes it's a little more purpley, sometimes it's a little bit more golden. The batch that got used for the mini skeins ended up a little bit more purpley. You can see there's pops of gold in there too, but there's, you know, orange and gold and green and purple, just kind of all woven through there. Similarly, Chateauneuf ends up just slightly different every time I dye it up. This time the blue stayed fairly dominant, but let's see, do I have it close by? I'll show you guys a cake of it as well. Here's a cake of Chateauneuf as well, where the purple stayed a little bit more dominant, but you can see it still has those blues and purples and greens and yellow in there. Kind of knits up like that. I'll talk about this project next week. And anyway, yeah, so that's in the mini skein pack. And then the last colorway is randonnée, which is the French word for hike or hiking. Right? And that is, again, a really gorgeous, very, why am I stuttering? Autumnal colorway, right? Gold and orange and green. I've got to repost it on Instagram. Somebody is knitting up a really gorgeous pair of fingerless mitts with a leaf motif on it out of this colorway, and it's amazing. One final mini skein pack, like I said, but these fall colorways, right? Randonnée, Vendange, Chateauneuf, Fin d'août, L'été Indien. All of those will still be available in the store for a couple more weeks. You know, until the holidays probably. I will say that some of my spring colorways are going to be phasing out pretty soon. So I've got a couple skeins left of both modern Marie Antoinette. If you hear squeaking, I apologize. Ezra's got a toy that he's chewing on rather aggressively right now. And yes, Madame du Barry. Right, both in the shop still. But I'm thinking once these are gone, I'm gonna take a pause on them for, you know, until spring. You know, custom orders are a thing if you really want to get your hands on one of these things, or like a colorway that I had before that is not currently available in the store, something like that. You know, you can always send me a PM on Etsy. But yeah, these are both really fun. If you follow me on Instagram, I reposted a picture somebody had sent me. They knit this really gorgeous lace shawl. Really, I mean, it was more of a, like a, what am I trying to say? A shawl with bands of stockinette and bands of like a mesh, like an eyelet mesh, more than like a complicated lace. But she used this colorway and it is amazing. It is so gorgeous. But yes, and then I'm trying to think if I have any pictures of modern Marie Antoinette I'll knit up. But it's just kind of a fun one. This is one of my first colorways that I still love. It's really fun to dye up. Yeah, just kind of some grays and gray and white mixed in there with then pops of hot pink and blue, right? Kind of made me think of Sofia Coppola's Marie Antoinette movie, you know, with like the hot pinks and really vivid blue. Let's see how that all plays together. So yeah, both those still available in the shop. I've still got some Dijon left in the store too. Dijon as a base is sort of a tonal or semi-solid, works really well with all of the early fall colorways. I'll show you in a second. I'm gonna rescan this one in a minute. My necklace just got twisted in this game. Awkward. But yeah, so I've got Dijon here, right? That pairs really well together, right? Same thing with Vendange. Right? Plenty going on there. I think that's kind of fun. Yeah, I mean, it really works well with any of those early fall colorways. Currently I'm working on my sort of late fall colorways that I'm gonna be releasing at the end of the month. Yeah, I'm gonna be releasing them at the end of the month. They are inspired by the poetry of Baudelaire, who is kind of dark and creepy and macabre in sort of a similar way to like Edgar Allan Poe, but instead of writing short stories and things like that, he only did poetry. Oh, I hope that's true. That's all I remember of his work anyway from undergrad when I took French Lit. I'm be super embarrassed if that's not actually true. I believe that's true. But yeah, 19th century French poet. I mean, like his poem names are things like Fountain of Blood, Don Juan in Hell, the like Lover's Death, things like that, right? They can get a little dark and creepy. It's like vampires and the metamorphosis of vampires, things like that. I mean, he has some that are less creepy, right? Like Invitation to a Voyage, I suppose, or Correspondences, things like that. But just, I don't know, really cool stuff and really interesting imagery in his poetry. So I'm dyeing up 5 different colorways, all inspired by that. That will be perfect, I think, for like October, November knitting. It's kind of, sorry. Layla wants to get into yarn and that's not a good thing because she shits. But yeah, so excited to show those to you guys. I've got a little bit of tinkering left to do, but I'm pretty happy with the way things are turning out. The one last thing to show you guys, I do have one sock blank available in the store, right? That is definitely kind of a fun autumn sock blank in my mind. Just kind of speckled and swirled. And this will knit up really cool. I have no doubt about that. But yeah, so this is the same sock blank base as the sock blanks I knit up for myself. So it's a Stellina blend. I'm calling this Joie de Vivre #1. So I plan on doing maybe a couple of these speckly ones, swirled ones. So Joie de Vivre is kind of exuberant joy of life. So that seemed appropriate for these kind of fun swirls. But yeah, so it's a single strand sock blank, but definitely enough for a pair of socks. I think I had at least a third of my sock blank left for my socks, for the way that I knit them. So yeah, plenty here for that. I want to say it's like 430 some yards. So it's definitely a good size sock blank. But yep, so this is also available in the store. What else do I want to say? Thank you so much everybody who participated in last week's shop update. Really amazing feedback. So like it's I'm turning red. It's really touching. I really love the enthusiasm. It's really, I don't know, it just, I'm just so thankful for it. Do you know what I mean? It's just, I'm excited about the yarn that I dye up, and it's really fulfilling and really great to see that other people are excited about it too. So thank you. My next shop update I'm gonna do is gonna be Friday this week, so September 16th at 7 p.m. Let's do 7 p.m. Yes. So francofille knits on Etsy. Information, links, and stuff like that are all in the down bar. But yeah, so that's what's available in the shop for this week. Next week, possibly the week after that, is when I'll have more new colorways. So many colorways. But yeah, so I think that is enough for this week. I will, yeah, keep you guys posted on everything, either on the Ravelry forum or yeah, through Instagram. Follow me there. That's honestly where I'm most active on social media. Yeah, other than that, I will see you guys again next week. Bon tricot, happy knitting. Bye. Oh, sorry. Guys, I just had a heart attack. The UPS guy just drove up and just scared the crap out of me. Just had a heart attack. Anyway, shots.